For those of you who just joined, welcome. We will be starting the meeting momentarily.
Okay, I apologize for that. I should be okay on my end.
All right, well, it looks like we have quorum, so Stephanie, you can go ahead and start the meeting whenever you're ready.
Okay, good morning, members of the MAG Public Safety Answering Point Managers Group. This meeting is now called to order. For those participating virtually, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. Before we begin with the roll call, I would like to welcome to the committee Kathleen Jones-Gooding, Public Safety Communications Division Manager with the Salt River Police Department. Welcome, and we look forward to your participation on this committee. We will now begin with the meeting with a roll call of all members.
Thank you, Chair. Members of PSAP Managers Group, when I call your name, please indicate you are present for the record. Apache Junction PD, Jessica. PPS, Jill.
Good morning, this is Jill, I'm here.
Hi, Jill. ASU, Trish. Avondale, Angela.
Good morning, I'm here.
Thank you. Buckeye, Jim. And Chandler, Stephanie.
Present.
Fort McDowell, Stephanie. Gilbert PD, Kim. Glendale, Loretta.
Loretta's present.
GMR representative. MCSO.
Jim Stillwell, good morning.
Mesa Fire.
Good morning. Mesa Fire is present.
Thank you. Mesa PD. Paradise Valley.
Heather Beckwith, present.
Phoenix Fire, Jim.
Fraser, I'm present.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Jim, are you online?
Yes, I'm online, Liz.
All right, there we go. Phoenix PD, Alley.
Present, good morning.
Hi. And Salt River, our newest member, Kathy.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm here.
Thank you. Karen Sutherland, Scottsdale.
Present.
Surprise, Damala. Tempe, Tanya Logan. Was that Tanya?
Good morning, Tanya Logan here, present.
Okay. Amanda Howard Tollison
Present.
and Wickenburg, Lieutenant Hadley. All right. Is there anyone that I missed? All right, Chair, it looks like we have a quorum.
Okay, our next item is call to the audience. MAG provides the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and are not for action. Members of the public are invited to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. Ms. Graber, have we received any online written comments for the call to audience?
Thank you, Stephanie. We have not received any call to the audience request.
Okay. All right, thank you. Our next item is the approval of the August 24th, 2023 MAG PSAP Managers Group meeting minutes. Does any member of the committee have questions or comments on the minutes?
Stephanie, this is Karen with Scottsdale. I do have a comment on the minutes. Under number 7, new alternate routing configuration, there's a paragraph in there that says Ms. Graber stated that the new alternative routing configuration was implemented by Scottsdale PD when they upgraded to the state 911 contact network. Scottsdale added the ability to send 911 calls that are not answered in a timely manner by the PSAP to an alternate route. This is common in PSAPs that are short-staffed. I just wanted to clarify that that has nothing to do with Scottsdale or short-staffed agencies. That is part of the policy routing function through the EZINet, and that all agencies do select a policy route for a certain period of time that a 911 call goes unanswered, it will automatically route.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything, any questions or comments from anybody else? Okay, Ms. Graber, have we received any online written comments for this item?
Liz, you're on mute.
We have not.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the August 24th, 2023 MAG PSAP Managers Group meeting minutes?
Loretta Hadlock with Glendale PD with that change that Karen stated.
Okay, we have a motion from Loretta to include the changes that Karen Sutherland made. Do we have a second?
Karen Sutherland, second.
Karen Sutherland seconds. Okay, we will have those participating in the meeting take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. We need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. This is to speed up the voting process. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras, Ms. Graber will conduct a roll call vote. Ms. Graber will only call on those who did not turn on their camera. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote so that Ms. Graber can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote from the members? Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed say nay. Ms. Graber, can you take a roll call of the members who did not turn on their camera, please?
And looking at it, Chair, it looks like everybody voting member was able to get on camera.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is the administrator report. Liz Graber, Maricopa Region 911 Administrator, will provide this report.
Thank you. We'll go to the next slide. So here is an update on our sends. Our previous year is 141. We are on track with 116 as year to date. And just a note, and I don't know if Travis from the state's going to touch on this, but they are doing rave demos or anything. So if you're interested in having rave as for your PSAP, they're coordinating something. Hopefully he'll touch on that when we get to the state part. Text to 911, we have a monthly average of 1,243. Our year to date is 11,184, and you can see we're trending high yet again. And the previous year total for the whole year was 11,430. So I guess we're going to bypass that by the next month. And that is my report for the admin. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Okay.
Okay. Moving on, our next item is an update on the activities of the MAG 911 Study Committee. Audrey Skidmore, MAG Information Technology Director, and Nathan Pryor, MAG Special Projects Administrator, will provide this update.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. At our last meeting, we spoke about the two options the study committee was looking at. That was the modified option 4 and the option 7, which is the state. The committee has continued their work and has continued their discussions with ADOA. They're very focused right now on option 7 with some modifications to address some concerns around the service level agreement, redundancy, resiliency, to make sure they're consistent with what we would expect for a major metro area. They are also continuing to discuss questions and concerns around the policy routing. And these have been very productive discussions, and those are ongoing, and the committee is continuing its work. And Nathan, did you have something to add?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Yeah, Audrey did a great job of covering what's been of late in terms of the activities of the study committee. A study committee did meet on October 4, a virtual meeting providing a general update on the conversations with ADOA. A lot of what's been happening is addressing concerns from Mesa and Phoenix in particular, really just seeking clarity on issues regarding a potential transition timeline for migration to state contract services, as Audrey Skidmore pointed out. I do want to say we do appreciate the patience of the PSAP managers group and the oversight team. Study committee started their work about a year ago at this time, working through most of this calendar year with federal engineering to develop that assessment and report that was accepted by the study committee in August timeline. So recognizing it's been a year, hopefully we're getting closer to some decision points and some decision making. We did give an update to the MAG Management Committee earlier this month as well, really focusing on the federal engineering report that I just mentioned, and is also outlining those options that Audrey Skidmore just did for the Management Committee. So really getting them up to speed as well, and encouraging members of the Management Committee to be reaching back to PSAP managers and oversight team members to better understand the report and just being caught up on developments around our 911 future. So hopefully study committee, I know they're looking to wrap up their work here soon. Conversations are ongoing with ADOA, as Ms. Skidmore pointed out. Those have been positive and productive conversations. It's just taking a little time. So we do appreciate everyone's patience. That's what I had to report.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, our next item is an update on the fiscal year 2025 budget. Ms. Graber, MR 911 Administrator, will provide this update.
Actually, can I flip that? Can I go to item 7 for the fiscal year 2024?
Sure.
Well, okay, there we go. That's the one I want. So as you recall, you got an email from the state. We're in the middle of our second half grant for this year. The submittals that we've had have had some adjustments. So currently we're going to submit monies for ASU PD. They're due for an upgrade, and of course the Phoenix PD project. We're also going to be submitting additional PSAP equipment that you guys requested. Chandler with 1 position, Tolleson with 2, Mesa Fire 3, Goodyear 5, Phoenix PD 10, and Apache Junction, a logging recorder and a workstation. So that being said, just so you know, we're submitting it as a placeholder and not, we don't know how, or the procurement vehicle, or what that exactly is going to look at like. So we have no quotes or anything to provide, but as soon as we come to a decision on what pathway they're going to take and everything's agreed upon, then we'll start and the state's projects, and we'll start looking at that as well as the number in putting in for the additional equipment. Is there any questions on fiscal year 2024? Okay, let's move on to 2025 then. Okay, so 2025 is the same as we're doing for fiscal year 2024. We're submitting monies, but this is we're at the point of approving it through the MAG process. This has not been done. We're waiting to see what pathway we're going to take, and then you'll be seeing us follow at that point the process. So in fiscal year 2025, our normal upgrade schedule would have been Apache Junction, Buckeye, Chandler, Salt River, and Tolleson. But that can be a moot point if we're all pushing everybody into the system at once. So just for historical sake, that was who's due, and we'll just find out from the state as we get closer to the decision on what that upgrade schedule will look like. For request of additional positions, Tolleson asked for 2, Glendale's asked for additional 4, Goodyear asked for 5, MCSO 9, Phoenix PD 10, Apache Junction 1, and Phoenix Fire. I have an update. That is going to be 25. They had, when I submitted this, we weren't sure on the numbers, but I've been given that information that Phoenix Fire will be asking for 25. And as you recall, as the state comes up with the formula, they list the agencies that need it the most. And I believe Phoenix Fire and Glendale were right up at the top. So, Phoenix PD. So we'll see how that shakes out, but that will be fiscal year 2025. We've been given a ballpark of that grant going live in March of 2024 for submittals. Any questions on fiscal year 2025? Okay, Stephanie, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is the Arizona 911 Office Report. Travis Jensen, State of Arizona 911 Administrator at the ADOA Arizona Strategic Enterprise Technology Office, will provide this report.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. You can go to the next slide, please. I wanted to start off by just giving an overview of where we're at with our next generation 911 implementation and migration. This is a high-level overview of the activities around the entire state. On the left, you can see a diagram that indicates what counties and regions have been completed in green, and then planning and pre-migration for the rest of the state. So overall, we are 58% done with the entire project. Next Generation 911 is now covering almost 40% of the population of Arizona, and it is servicing 82% of the land throughout the entire state. Last week, we completed the migration of the Graham County Sheriff's Office, and then have several migrations planned throughout the rest of October here. Next slide. We just completed the 3rd phase, which covers Pima and Cochise County, as well as 2 agencies within Maricopa County. So phase 3 was completed on the 3rd of October, finalizing with the Oro Valley Police Department. Next slide, please. We've just started our phase 4 implementation. We have already cut over the Flagstaff Police Department, Prescott, Camp Verde, Cottonwood, and then, as I stated, the Graham County Sheriff's Office. This migration phase will focus primarily on Coconino, Yavapai, Graham, Greenlee County, and then also covers the DPS sites, the one in Phoenix and the one in Tucson. So this is what's up. We plan to be completed with the 4th phase, which was the original scope of work, by the end of December. You can go to the next slide, please. We have since implemented a 5th phase with some of the Maricopa County PSAPs as well as we've seen a rather large uptick in tribal entities that have expressed interest in coming onto the state network, as well as Department of Defense installations around the state. So this is going to be very flexible in terms of adding on additional agencies through any of those number of groups, or with MAG if the entire region ends up coming over. And those timelines will be determined in the future once we get through and figure some things out with what the rest of the group wants to do. So that's kind of what's up next for us, and that'll probably push us into the entirety of calendar 2024. Next slide, please. There has been, as Liz and Audrey and Nathan stated, a lot of progress made with the MAG Study Committee in terms of migrating the Maricopa County PSAPs either to the state network. But one of the big things that was successfully accomplished was, if you recall, we had a pause on the next generation core services migration. And I believe the groups have come to a resolution on that issues. And we will be reinstating the testing to move all of the Maricopa County PSAPs to a MR911 NGCS. So what impact does that have to you and your PSAP? First and foremost, it's going to be improved routing capabilities using geospatial routing, which gives you more accurate citizen location information. We're adding in redundant call paths between the Comtech Next-Gen Core Services and the MR911 network. Present day, you're using two older pieces of equipment on two paths, and we will be migrating those to 4 paths that are monitored by the Comtech network. So it gives you that more robust and resilient network component. And we are also adding in, this will give all of the agencies within the county the additional policy routing capabilities. If you have not had the opportunity to be in any of the meetings regarding policy routing, this is just who you're identifying as agencies that would like to back you up in case there was an issue or in case your call volume exceeded a threshold. There is a RNA timer, which stands for ring no answer. That is a timer that is determined by the PSAP that once the calls have been sitting within your queue, beyond that threshold, the call would be sent then to an agency that you determine through your policy route. So that will need to be determined once we get this done. We are planning on this migration being completed by February, pending any unknown delays that come up at this time. Next slide, please. As Liz had stated, the state did do a statewide procurement for the RAVE emergency notification system, the reverse 911 system. So the scope of work included 2 components, RAVE Alert and RAVE Prepare. RAVE Alert is the external notification tools similar to the SENS tool that you use present day. It allows you to send out blasts to citizens within a predefined region, notifying them of a public safety risk or utilizing their assistance to help you find somebody or solve a crime. There's also an added component for internal agency communication if you want to use this for callouts or blasts sent out to your officers or firefighters or PSAP staff. And then there's an added component for RAVE Prepare, which is the citizens' ability to upload information specific to them, which can be sent to your dispatcher if they have medical information or any other specific information that would be pertinent for the dispatchers and first responders to know. And if you would like to opt in to be added to the queue, the website at the bottom, Arizona Alerts, will take you to an opt-in portal. All of the agencies within Maricopa County, to my knowledge, should be able to make that transition if it's something they would like to do. On our website, there is also, we added a portal that goes to the opt-in site as well as a demonstration that we gave if there are questions surrounding the capabilities of the tool. If you would like a personal one-on-one demo or a demo with your chain of command or emergency management office, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to reach out to RAVE and get that scheduled to help you better understand the product and the options. Next slide, please. Just want to talk about a couple state initiatives that we're driving based on some communication that we've been having with PSAPs around the state. So there was a West Valley PSAP manager meeting, and one of the topics of conversation was some challenges that the PSAPs have been having with language line, voyance, other language translation contracts that you own. I was not aware that actually the Department of Administration owns the statewide language translation contract. So we started engagement with the group that oversees that contract, and we proactively were able to educate them on the need for PSAPs to be able to use language translation services in emergencies. So they have rewritten the scope of work to include specific 911 language, and then Gerald Fraser with our office is going to actually be on that committee and help drive some of the agencies that are selected. This is a very robust contract. Not all of the vendors are going to be specific to 911. This is for any entity in the state that would need any type of language translation. But hopefully, because we're adding in a 911 component, we get a couple more vendors that maybe give all of your agencies some options in case there's some issues that need resolved in migrating to a different solution. Another one of the things that have been presented to our office that we are currently looking into is CAD to CAD interoperability. As we move down the next generation 911 path, that policy routing, that ability to kind of have improved interoperability with your jurisdictional partners. One of the things that is a subcategory of that is how you process and handle those calls. You obviously don't want to just be sending back the call via 10-digit and not getting all the anti-nally information. So one of the things that came up is looking into a CAD to CAD solution. We are looking at going to RFI and potentially an RFP for a statewide contract to bring on vendors that will offer this solution so that you'll be able to potentially process your peers' calls if that's something that you would want to do. Once again, this is not required. This would just be at your discretion. And hopefully we'll get more information as we go down that path here in the near future. Previously, we reported on Comtech partnering with Amazon for their AWS chatbot smart answer solution. We are currently going down the path of piloting that in the Tucson Police Department. This is a automated chatbot system for your administrative calls, not your 911 calls. Hopefully it alleviates the burden of some of your staff members getting inundated with admin calls that potentially could be answered via some type of AI solution, as opposed to needing your personnel in a ecosystem where everybody is short-staffed and understaffed. And then finally, we are going to be looking at getting an in-person state meeting where we can just all come together and kind of discuss the state of the state, as well as where we'd like to see the program and our engagement interaction with each of you going forward. So please be on the lookout for that. Gerald will probably send out a large mass communication on where that will be and a time TBD in the near future. I think that is all I have. As always, the last slide is my staff and the managers within our group, if you'd like to contact any of them or myself. And that is all I have. Thank you all for your time today. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any member of the committee have any questions or comments?
We have Karen Sutherland with her hand up.
Hi, Travis. When you were talking about the Comtech Smart Answer and the CAD to CAD interoperability, are those things that you are looking at as a state agency to fund, or is that something that you're just going to get the information out to the agencies on?
Yeah, good question. I think the first thing that's going to come to fruition is probably the AWS chatbot. I would very much like to fund that. The funding model for how it's paid is on a per call basis. And we would need to kind of look and see what some of those costs might be. Hopefully, if we get additional funding, this can be something that we support. But right now, I'm just going to say it's unknown. I'm not sure. The CAD to CAD is probably a much harder sell for the state to use 911 funds to support, especially without having additional funding mechanisms in place, which we are always working on. So I foresee us just owning the contract, and hopefully that makes it easier for your agency to procure. And then you can partner with whatever other agencies are nearby to you that you'd like to use that tool with.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments?
I have a couple of questions for Travis. This is Liz with Maricopa Region 911. Do we have a date on DPS cutting over to the state system? The Phoenix one specifically.
Yes, the Phoenix DPS site will be migrating on the 1st of November. And then the Tucson site will be the next day on the 2nd. The first is a Wednesday and the second is a Thursday.
This is Jill. It's actually, we're on the 2nd in Phoenix and Tucson is on the 1st.
Sorry, thank you, Jill. I had those transposed.
No worries.
Thanks, Jill. And then on you talked about the additional tribal and Department of Defense, we're looking at PSAPs. Can you give us how many PSAPs will be added and how many seats will be added to the budget?
Yeah, so right now, as you saw on the Phase 5 implementation, the Colorado River Indian Tribe is the first one to start that proactive engagement that will actually be cut over here in Q1 of 2024. Because of their inability to meet the statutory threshold of 300 calls per month, that PSAP will be self-funding, as well as the DoD installations. Currently, we're working with the Yuma Proving Grounds, as well as the Marine Corps base in Yuma. Both of those agencies will also be self-funding. The DoD has some restrictions that prohibits them from partnering with state and taking state monies. So those two installations are going to be self-funding as well. We currently have communication scheduled and working with the San Carlos Apache tribe out in the Graham County region. More than likely, they will also be self-funding just due to the small size and the small count of 911 calls that they have. And then we have a meeting scheduled with the Tohono O'odham tribe in Pima County here in several weeks, and hopefully we can partner with them. The Navajo Nation also went to RFP for several evolutionary components, one of which is a 911 system. That RFP just went to the streets, so we're hoping to hear a little bit more in terms of what they plan to do. And so we'll gain some clarity here in the near future on if they're going to want to partner with us or potentially do something else that's a little extra challenging because they cover 3 states. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm sure the Navajo Nation is going to meet that threshold, so they will be part of the budget for the state.
Yeah, I think if they want to, I'm not sure that they would apply or that they would even come onto our network. They have a couple different things in that RFP. They might just build their own network. I'm not sure what they're going to do.
So they do self-funded.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And then Rave on the PSAPs, is the state picking up all the costs for Rave?
Yeah, so we were actually awarded federal grant funding to support the Rave tool for the first iteration of it. And then we do plan on funding this indefinitely. In the demonstration, if you were able to join, if any of the PSAP managers were able to join, we've been paying for ENS systems throughout the state, disparate ENS systems. So we wanted to just come together and have a collective solution that all the PSAPs can buy off of. You are not required to use the Rave tool if you do not want to or don't like it. It's just an option and a solution for the agencies that we have partnered with that want to do that. I believe to date we already have close to 40% of the state that's signed up and is making that transition, and we expect that number to continue to grow in the near future.
Can you tell me what the annual cost will be for that product if the whole state goes?
Yes, let me pull up the contract. I think it was just shy of $1 million.
And
don't quote me on that, but I'm
population based.
It is population based. That's correct. And PSAP number of add-ons that we could do it. We signed for 81 PSAPs. That's the number of PSAPs that we had. Obviously, not all PSAPs in the state will use that. So if there's an option to bring on some other entities, we can partner with Rave to figure that out.
And the grant funds will last for, has enough to cover for the first year?
The first several years, yes.
For several years, and that's assuming all PSAPs go.
Correct, yes, under which I don't anticipate would happen, but correct.
Okay. Okay, that's my questions. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right, does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, thank you for that report. Are there any requests by a PSAP managers group member for an item on a future agenda? Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Okay, the next meeting of the MAG PSAP managers group will be held on Thursday, December 7th at 10 a.m. with no further business. Today's meeting is adjourned.